Oath of the TalkGA.
Oath of the TalkGA. Nice. 1, 2, 3.
Three.
TalkGA. Wow.
Wow, we did not
said-
rehearse.
Okay.
We did not plan that at all.
3 visits.
Oh my god!
Hello again, and welcome back to TalkGA, our podcast on anything and everything Grand Archive. I'm your host, Mark from Solar Games, and joining me are my co-hosts, Eva and Fome.
Hey guys.
Hello.
All right, we'll kick it off with Eva. How was your week?
Well, straight to me.
Straight to you.
How was my week? Well,
How was your week? What and are you playing GA? If so, what new decks, fun things are you doing now?
Well, I actually have not been able to have like a lot of opportunities to play Grand Archive since A and B came out. Basically, I had a really intense work trip that I got back from not long ago. So I've actually only been to 2 locals since A and B came out. But, both locals. Remember last episode I was saying how I wanted to play Imperial Seal?
Yes.
Which lets you play, enables fire, wind, and water cards for you for 1 turn.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want to freaking play Flame Sweep in my Water Lorraine deck. Well, very happy to report that both locals that I went to, I was able to Imperial Seal, Flame Sweep, and drew 3 cards for on Lorraine level 2, Blade Master.
Jeez.
And my opponents were all blown away.
They just didn't expect it, right? Because you were playing water.
It's funny because the locals that we did this morning, my opponent was like, oh, wait, you talked about this on the podcast. And I was like,
Made it happen.
They're like, no, this can't possibly happen. Oh wait, it's
oh,
happening.
wait, you literally said that this...
That's
Nice. Nice.
Okay, so Imperial Seal as a divine relic, how high would you rank it now?
I don't know. I have not really been too involved in Grand Archive stuff. I mean, obviously I try to keep tabs on everything, but just haven't been able to play a lot. Didn't go to any of the major tournaments, so I don't really know how it's doing in the meta.
How do you feel?
How do
Eva?
I
It's
feel?
just about you. It's
oh,
not. We're
it's
not.
so
I didn't ask for
fun.
analysis.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't.
You could have just said 0 out of 5. But
I
it.
rated 3 out of 5 cards drawn by Lorraine too.
Nice. Pretty good.
Yeah. That's
3 visits.
what he said.
There we go.
How about you, Fome?
Me? I've been enjoying the Get Jump deck
Yeah.
with Mortal Ambition.
Have you been jumping people?
Actually, I'm the one getting jumped.
What happened?
And I thought this card was gonna be a funny meme, but it turns out to be just an awesome card that everybody's running.
Oh, people were playing it.
Yeah. So in the Win Unique Allies deck, everybody's playing 4 copies of Mortal Ambition now, and they're just like, get jumped, you're dead.
So everyone's playing it for free.
Yep,
Wow.
everyone is playing it now.
It's good.
And so you can never attack into a board because you might just die on that turn.
Are you enjoying it?
Yeah, I mean Mortal Ambition is my favorite card of the set.
Cool.
And it leads to some very funny games.
How about you, Mark? We
Yes.
played earlier today at
We did.
locals. You were
We
on
did.
Jin. How'd you like it?
Yeah. So do you remember how it was maybe a couple episodes ago? I said Jin's damage is deceptive because damage is another resource for Jin. I experienced this firsthand. Right. A lot of people were walking by as we were playing, or any other game too. They're like, "So are you winning?" Asking me. I'm like, honestly, I don't know. It looks really weird because I'm at 34 life, and it looks like I'm about to die. But I know I have a breastplate and I have serene fire. I got some healing, so I should be okay. I think. I don't know. Yeah, it definitely feels like my life is on the line the whole time, and I'm banking on one big hit. If I get the hit, I win. If I don't get the hit, I have to somehow not die and then pray for next turn.
Yeah, I feel like every single game I've played with Jin so far has been thrilling because you never freaking know what's going to happen at any point.
Yeah, and then on you guys' side, probably you're like, I'm doing damage, but is it good? I'm not sure if I'm helping them or that I'm hurting them.
I've asked you so many times today. I was like, Mark, if I hit you right now, am I actually helping you?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'm like, I don't know if I'm winning. I'm not sure either.
Yeah, at some point I just stopped thinking about it. I'm just like, slam. If you kill me back, fine, whatever. I deserve to die.
Yeah. And I don't know who wrote that 1 star on the box for Jin. It's math heavy. This deck is a lot of thinking.
How are your least common multiple calculations doing?
Oh my gosh, yeah. So if you're a Jin player, aspiring Jin player, some numbers to keep track of: 35, 36, 40, 42, 44, I think, are all good numbers for you.
The magic numbers for Jin.
It's crazy, yeah.
Easy.
For our show today, we're going to be talking about the recent VNR announcement. We will then, of course, talk about cornering the market. And then we're going to talk like a little bit more about Ascent Toronto, which happened recently, right? Along with the new products that were announced at Ascent Toronto. And we're going to cap off today's episode with our main topic, which is around Mortal Ambition, Three Kingdoms lore.
Cool.
Thanks to the lore master.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sensei,
Mark from Solar
teach
Games.
us.
Should be really fun today. All right, let's Fome, you got BNR. Kick it off.
BNR. Okay.
All right.
Strap yourselves in
Good luck.
because this is a big one.
Yeah.
Okay, so in the latest BNR, there was a first major errata to the card 3 Visits. So this is how the card was changed. Originally, this is a card that you could play from your hand, from the grave, or from the banishment. And if your champion is not rested, you can then also rest it, and then you would recover and glimpse.
Yes.
Optionally.
Optionally, yes.
Now, that resting portion of the card is a additional cost to be able to play the card. So this has some huge implications for how you would actually use the card. You can't just chain a bunch of them all together in one turn to machine gun kill your opponent with Razor Gale Calling. I think, come on, everybody knows why they had to do this errata pretty much, looking at what happened in Toronto.
Yeah.
You mean Ascent Vanitas?
Ascent Vanitas, yeah, right, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like 3 Visits was played by 100% of the top 8, which is kind of wild.
100%.
100% of the top 8, and like out of the top 32, it was like 22 people were playing it, which is still quite the ratio.
Yeah, that is pretty overwhelming. I guess the only question I have is why errata 3 Visits specifically? Because I mean, if they're dying from Razor Gale Calling, could they have just banned that card instead?
Banned Razor Gale?
Yeah.
That is interesting because like out of the top 8, 7 people were playing Razor Gale Calling,
Right,
so
yeah.
they were both very dominant in the top 8.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think it really, like, there's 2 ways to handle, like, this question, right? We can look at it from what was the original intent of 3 Visits, or whether Razor Gale is the problem, right?
Sure.
So I'll address the first one about 3 Visits. So as Sildar stated during the dev update at announcement of the BNR, banner restricted announcement, he stated that the original intent of 3 Visits was to have it as part of the cost to rest your champion, glimpse 2, recover 2, right?
Yeah.
Now, the reason why it was modified was because of the way that the card was, the way that it was written originally would be too busy text-wise on the card, doesn't look as good. So it was written in this way on the card. Now, yeah, whether that was like intentional, like meaning like we think that players would be interpreted okay, or this change modifying how the card functions is also like okay, let's see what happens. You know, I'm not gonna be a judge of that. I'm just stating what I heard, right?
Sure.
So I think the Razor Gale. So then that's 3 Visits. Then addressing the Razor Gale side, I think Razor Gale is pretty good. It's a good card. The moment I think it was revealed, a lot of us in this, NorCal server were brewing, right? Like, okay, what can you do?
Yeah.
How do you cantrip? How do you keep doing, wind, anything, right? What we, I think, came up with is no matter how much you can cantrip, there's a good limit to how many of those Razor Gale you can activate, essentially. Yeah. Whereas like 3 Visits at 0 cost allowed you to do this 3 times instantly, which made it very, very problematic, right?
True, yep.
It's fast speed, it's not slow. You can do it in response to people doing things like Veiling Breeze to negate all the damage. Well, guess what? I'm just gonna do my entire combo, and sure, you'll negate the 1 damage, but everything else, goes through. So there's a lot of problems with that kind of, play.
Yeah. I mean, if you look in a vacuum at a card like a Razor Gale versus a card like 3 Visits before the errata, one of them makes you, like, your eyes pop out. You're like, how can it actually be doing this? It seems so busted. And Razor Gale doesn't give you that impression. I think if you come from other card games like MTG, you see cards kind of like printed with this kind of payoff templating all the time.
Yeah.
You do this, you ping them for 1 damage.
Yep.
But free spells, on the other hand, historically, especially ones where you can play multiple times for free, chained together, definitely has a bigger potential to be busted. And I think another reason the devs gave for this particular change is they would likely make more cards like Razor Gale than they would cards like 3 Visits.
Yes. Yeah.
So I think the reason for this makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm just a little bit worried about the precedents this sets.
Yes.
Because, like, come on, I thought we were past the point of doing functional erratas to nerf cards. Like, isn't it a bit of like a slippery slope? Because once you say, oh, we can just, if any card is busted, we can just errata it. It kind of disincentivizes really, really rigorous, careful testing of card designs during R&D. It makes it so like you can just fix whatever mistake happens.
Yeah.
So, you know, personally, to be honest, I'm just not a fan of erratas in general, and I think they should be a tool of last resort.
Sure.
I think this case may be qualified. This was like an emergency that you know needed a last resort action to be taken. It has also the issues with like if a new player comes into the store, they're opening the packs and playing with the cards, and they don't actually do what the card text says. Isn't that just like increasing the barrier of entry? So we're going to end up in a situation a year from now when a new player goes in and they're like, I'm going to play my 3 Visits. Like, oh, by the way, that actually doesn't do that. They're like, oh, okay. Well, I'm going to activate my Viridian. No, actually, it doesn't do that either. And so it's like, how many things you're going to have to explain to the new players that don't function the way they're written on the card. So understand why they had to do it for this case. Really hope they don't have to keep doing it. I do have a suggestion. Okay. Before we go to the next part of the BNR, I think one way that maybe they could try to earn the trust of the players again is what if they had errata card redemptions? And so they did this like with FTC, right, where you can give bring a full set of cards, and then you get these promos in return. But what if you can go to Ascent and you could trade in the old version of a card with the incorrect text, and they provide the players with the errata text version of it. And if you have a foil, they give you a foil version of the card.
I think it's really good actually on the secondary market. Let's say I'm buying a card. Ideally, I would buy the fixed version. Which actually kind of is a cool idea. I like it. Next card.
Oh yeah.
Proxy's Vault.
There's also a brand new Proxy's Vault card. So this one's called Nullifying Mirror. So this is a cleric accessory regalia item, and it has an activated ability. You rest it, and until end of turn, cards on target opponent's memory are norm element. So this is pretty neat because we don't have too much memory manipulation at this point. I mean, there definitely some other cards, but this specifically, I think, is targeted towards a particular defensive interaction, in which is the Vanitas players constantly looping Veiling Breeze, which is you play Veiling Breeze, you reveal any number of wind element cards, and then you block that much damage. But with the Nullifying Mirror out, then all of those wind element cards in your memory are just norm, and then it wouldn't work at all. So I think the devs explained, they would like a way to be able to interact with cards like Veiling Breeze. But this also would interact with stuff that imbues, such as Cerulean Decree or Windmill Engineer, albeit in order for it to interact with the imbue cards, you actually have to activate the mirror before they play the imbue cards, because the imbue part of paying the cost, where you show the cards you're using to pay, is part of the cost. So you can't respond to that because it would already be out. It would already have happened. So yeah, it's pretty interesting. Oh, I want to clarify that this card is only legal until the next set HVN. And the reason for that is the official version of this card that is going to be printed in HVN.
Okay, nice.
So what do you think? Pretty neat, huh?
I'm excited about this card. This is another great card that you put under a Grail.
Oh yeah, to surprise people.
So I mean, right? Like if I have the card out, no one's gonna Veiling Breeze because they know I'm just gonna tap it, right? Unless they have 2 Veiling Breeze. But imagine you like Veiling Breeze, thinking it's your last resort. You have 2 cards in hand. You put 1 down, Veiling Breeze. I'm gonna show you 7 win card. I'm good to go for this turn. I Grail, show you the mirror. I activate mirror.
My trap card.
Trap card, exactly.
Oh, you screw them. So, and then if they see you have a grail, they'll be like, oh crap, now I can't Veiling because there might be a mirror under there.
I put my Shuangji down instead, right? Like, yeah, exactly. So you
fake out?
The fake out. It's really, I like it, yeah. And this design space is really interesting because I started thinking about like, could we do like a nullifying banishment? Nullifying, you know what I mean? Like there's so many places where you can nullify and it's interesting, right?
Yeah, let's not kick Rai while he's down.
We can kick. Yeah, I mean, but like, yeah, I mean, there's places where maybe this is kind of interesting. I mean, we do have Orb Sealing already, so maybe we don't need it for the banishment, but.
Cards in target opponent's banishment are no longer slime.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
There's also a update to the Proxy as Vault policy. So it used to be that when a new Proxy as Vault comes out, you may use a personal proxy. Let's say you printed it out or you made a nice custom of it. You can use it for up to 1 year before having to obtain an official copy of the card.
Yeah.
And those official copies were only up till now distributed at official events.
Yeah.
It turned out that it's actually pretty hard to get official copies of cards just by going to events.
Yeah.
And as a result, they've changed the policy now that you can indefinitely use your own proxies, a proxy of vault cards.
And that's a great change.
Cool. Yes.
I'm sure you're happy about it because you're literally the custom proxy guy for all of NorCal. You've been like supplying everyone.
I do like to print out the nice proxies for everyone. Yeah, this changes the chef's kiss.
Yes.
Thank you, weebs of the shore.
And now we can use Fome's proxies forever.
Fome, the black market broker of proxies. I think it's also, Sildar also mentioned this on the stream, but I think it's like allowing artists to make really interesting proxy as vault altars now that are legal is really cool.
Yeah, they're gonna have a great time.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yep. Additional changes. We're not done yet.
Yeah, so many things. All right.
So there's been some movements of cards in the different categories of the ban list. So again, for those of you who are not familiar, the ban list in Grand Archive is split between category 1, 2, and 3. Category 1 is like cards on the watch list, which may have the potential to be, problematic. Cards in category 2 are one step above that. They're
heavily watched, intensely watched.
Intensely watched, maybe even likely to be banned in the future. And then category 3 means it's straight up banned.
Yep.
So we have a new addition to category 2.
Yep.
And this one completely skipped category 1, actually.
Let's go.
First time, Baby Gray Slime.
Yep.
Straight to category 2. Wow. Hallelujah.
Okay.
Very deserved. Yeah, Baby Gray Slime. I mean, they're saying this card, it's been kind of homogenizing decks. It's kind of too good in all different things.
Yeah.
I've been thinking ever since this card came out, I've been like thinking, why does it do so much? Why you can show slimes both from your memory and or from your hand.
Yep.
Why does it have intercept too? This seems a little bit excessive. Yeah, I mean, what do you think?
Why doesn't this have class bonus?
Right? Yeah.
Like literally everyone's playing it now.
So on that point of everyone playing it, I'm actually, to me, I was very surprised, right? I know a lot of decks were running it, and I know they were running it in conjunction with cards like Slime Shield, but like, don't you have to have a pretty good density to make this work and activate continuously?
Yeah. 4 of Baby Green Slime, 4 Slime Shield.
Surprisingly, you don't. Surprisingly, it's really easy to have all the slimes you need to practice. So straight to category 2, Baby Gray Slime.
Yeah, I do appreciate that they're building a new precedence for this. I think it's a good thing that now we don't have to always wait for like 3 months for something to enter the watch list, move up the watch list, and then finally get banned. Like now we know, like if it gets bad, they actually can just shoot something up the watch list.
I wonder, right? So of course it sets the precedence in a positive way for cards that are very problematic, and we can just skip categories. But does it also make it so that now suddenly we have like new precedent, which says, hey, if I think this card's really bad, it's just gonna straight get banned. And is that good? I don't know.
See, that would be a conversation for if something moved straight from not on the list at all to category 3. But I feel like the fact that it's moving to category 2 means that they're still giving us time, like a notice in advance before something actually gets banned all of a sudden. So I actually think it's still fine like this.
Yeah, they're still giving you a 1 month warning.
Yeah.
Just not a 3-month.
So you're saying it's right. This goes back to like my comment about have we ever seen any category 2 items ever fall out of category 2, or do they all go to 3? I think so far I've never seen a category 2 come out. So it's almost like category 2 is not watch intensely. It's more like pre-banning.
Yeah.
It's more like, hey, say your goodbyes now.
Yeah. Use it while you can, right?
Yeah. Sell.
Yeah. Sell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That actually might be a pretty good segue to the next section.
Oh,
Sure.
Speaking of selling.
Selling, yeah. We're gonna move right on to cornering the market.
Cha-ching.
Yeah. Okay. I want to structure today's cornering the market into kind of like sections around how the meta is driving the market. First off, if you haven't watched or seen it, allied decks are dominating. They're really strong. People really love the whole unique ally list. That's now the new flavor, which is driving up cards like Seaside Ringleader, and then of course also Purse, Relentless Raptor. Both cards are up like around 300 to 400%. So like, yeah, like example from Seaside Ringleader. This used to be a $3-4 card, now about $15.
$15.
Yeah, and that's $15 sold listing. So we know people are buying it, right? Again, they're realizing this card is a lot better than it reads. You can.
It reads really well.
I'm just kind of curious, like why people haven't played it for a long time until now, right? So again, this helps with the water allies, right? And the tamer build, animal beasts, really good spot, especially if you're running it in the Nico deck, which there is a Sylvie to Nico deck, right? And then Purse is just a very high roll card, but if you have like Purse, Liu Bei plus like just in general, like any way to give Purse some sort of like distance, there's options to suppress. Liu Bei gets the distant bonus because Purse got distance. It's just insane. And then you add in like Dilu, which also gets activated by Purse now because unique ally, right? It's very strong.
Yeah. You see that trifecta, Purse, Dilu, Liu Bei, you're dead.
Yeah, exactly. Second section, water. Water is definitely top tier. Now, I know it doesn't, I know.
Is it really?
No, go ahead.
Water is really good. I think water has a lot.
No, it's
we
good.
the water players do not appreciate this section. Yeah,
I think it's good. It's just not necessarily top tier right now.
I will say some of the price movement in water, I do think it's just rising tide lifting all ships. I think a lot of people are seeing like how Nico is very cool. It's like a fun deck. People love Icebound Slamming. But if you run Icebound Slam, what do you have to do? You run 60 water cards. If you run 60 water cards, you're running cards like Fracturize. You're running cards like Lost in Thought, which makes all these cards go up in price, right?
It makes sense. They're like a package that have to basically go together.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually kind of don't like that very much about building water decks.
100% agreed.
Thank you. Yeah. I'm like, I can't play my fun cards because I have to play Fracturize and I have to play Lost in Thought. And that's why everyone who builds a water deck has to buy all those cards.
Yeah.
Yep. That's why I stopped playing water, because I felt like all the water cards forced me to play the same package of like floating memory cards together.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's just so on rails. And let me do my own thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So all of this is to say that Fracturize is very expensive now, unfortunately. It's a $15 card. I do think this one is a little bit temporary, though, to be fair. I did look up the population of Fracturize. It's quite high for that rare. I know it's very necessary for a lot of water decks, but again, Fire and Wind don't run it. So I don't think it should be as expensive as it is. The only reason why I think it is that price is there were a lot of redemptions done in FTC. So a lot of Fracturizes now belong to Weeps of the Shore, which in a weird way, like Weeps did mention, like they have some plans for redemption cards in the future. So could these be given out as prizes or something back to the player base and rehydrate like a card like Fracturize that we're now, I guess, a little bit starved in the playing field? I don't know. Yeah. And then cards like Lost in Thought, like I originally thought this card was like super good, right? Yeah, so it's going to $7 now. People probably see it. Again, it's the whole, you play water, you have to have this card. So yeah, Icebound Slam was never a cheap card. It's a super rare. It's from MRC. It is just now commanding $40, so 200% increase, which is getting into that Pendragon range. So this is how a lot of the Crux players have felt for a long time, is Pendragons are average $35. Yeah. What I'm not saying, by the way, in today's general like corner of the market is that a lot of cards are up. Like Pendragon, as an example, is up to like around $45 now. So back to like the old pricing. I attribute a lot of this to just the growth of the game. A lot of new players are buying a lot of cards. That's what I'm seeing as well. So that kind of makes sense. Of course, like Pendragon still being good because Merlin runs Pendragons, right? Lastly, the boogeyman, Vanitas, has scared a lot of people into buying cards that are anti-Vanitas. So for the Vanitas who are in that mirror, they've been buying up Verdigris Decree, which very surprising, right? This was the decree that was like the cheapest one. Nobody wants this decree. It's like $2. Like I don't want to touch it. Now it's $15. So
like, why would I need something that interacts with Fantasia?
Yeah,
who plays Fantasia?
Why would anyone want to use that card?
500% increase. Hopefully you didn't sell your Verdigris when it was really, really low. But anyways, the card is really key in that mirror, which is why it's being bought. And then of course Blanche, for everyone else who's not running Vanitas, you're going to want a Blanche. A Blanche is good in Vanitas, is good against a lot of these Spellslinger decks that are kind of out there too, like Merlin too. So Blanche, what I'm hearing nowadays is people are saying main board Blanche. Don't sideboard it.
I play 3 Blanche main board right now.
There you
it's
go.
pretty good.
That's why the price of that card is going up too. Yeah. And that is cornering the market. Okay, moving on to Ascent Toronto. Eva, do you have some of the deets, the breakdowns of Ascent Toronto?
I mean, I didn't go, but I did look at like Fractal of Insight and the Omni decks to look at what was up and checked out a bit of the stream. And I do want to shout out some of our NorCal homies that did really well at Ascent Toronto.
Nice.
Steven, TTA, was 6th. Livdrazil Sean was 8th. And Skysama Jeremy placed 22nd. And then Frankie Doodle was actually 1st place in the I Scrubbed Out of Steel side event, which is amazing because that, like, even though it was a side event, it still had 107 participants. So that's a pretty big deal. So yay, congrats to them.
Congrats everyone.
Do a little congratulatory toot.
Woo.
Toot toot.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what about the meta? Was there any Vanitas? It was just like
Dude, I heard there was
meta.
I think there's like one Vanitas, maybe like maybe 2.
So I heard it was not a breeze to play at Ascent Toronto.
Yeah.
I was really blown away looking at the results of this tournament. Yep. All right, so moving on to the next. Dude, crazy. Did you see the top 32 ratios in terms of elements? 26 wind.
Yeah, I know.
26 wind out of 32, and it was like 5 fire,
Yes.
1 water.
Water's good.
You know what's surprising to me? 0 norm, 0 spirit of slime. I think there was slime, but in the fire flavor, 0 norm, which was the top deck before this meta, right?
So Vanitas killed slimes.
I guess so.
Yeah. Or all the slime players became Venice players.
Oh, that absolutely probably happened.
Yeah.
So congratulations to Matt G, who won 1st place playing Win Vanitas with Razor Gale Calling.
Yep.
So anyway, Vanitas aside, it was very cool to see 2nd place. It was Ali on Win Kongming, also with Razor Gale Calling. And 3rd place, Amekuru was playing a Wind Crux Diana Merlin, which is interesting new deck that's kind of emerged. Special shout out to 9th place who bubbled out of the top 8, Kilitus on Fire Exia Jin, which is the deck I think you were playing at locals today. Yeah, cool deck.
Great deck, yeah.
And then in the top 32, I do want to shout out the Arasana that made 28th place. Arasana in top 32. It was Robotron's Win Astra Arasana.
Wow.
Super cool.
3 visits pretty good in that deck too.
Yeah.
So what's the common denominator here?
Oh yeah.
So
what card got errated?
Yeah.
So any of the decks stand out to you guys?
Can I say one thing about Vanitas?
Sure.
I know people don't want. I love watching the Diablo play.
You're not sick of Vanitas just like Razor Galing everybody to death.
Okay, yeah. So I can just skip all that part of it.
Yeah.
But I love it when like they pull the Diablerie and it's like I'm about Quicksilver. No, actually, hold on. Hold on. I think it's really funny. I want to see that card. I've always wanted to see that card get played.
For sure.
And one of the benefit of Vanitas being top tier is now we get to see Diablerie. Cool.
There's such an evil card.
I will not say anything about Vanitas anymore.
Yeah. Moving on.
All right.
Moving on.
So a deck I really liked. I think I was watching the Kilitus piloting the Exia Jin, Serene Fire Exia Jin. I really like this deck. I just thought it was so cool, like the way to kind of navigate your kill turns. The turboing, it was really amazing. Looking at like one of my favorite cards in Grand Archive, which is Gloamspire Black Market.
Oh, yeah.
Really being heavily leveraged in this deck to great effect, right? Meaning like staying super low in influence, turboing to 3, and just popping the Black Market. And like Jin, so like I think the joke has been like, oh, Deanna 1 doesn't do anything. It's the only champion that has no text, right? Because you have to banish later. But I was like, actually, Kilda's Jin level 1 and 2 don't do anything either. Those texts are just ignored. All he does is just goes to 3 and then does this 3 thing. So I thought that deck was really cool. Again, the combo of like Fractal of Insight with Gentle Respite and Gloamspire Black Market, amazing.
Yeah, thanks for letting me draw 3 cards off of Gloamspire today.
Oh, just giving you all the cards.
Yeah.
What a pal.
It's such an interesting deck because I think a lot of people expected Jin to play like allies aggro.
Yeah.
But instead it's just like do nothing and then get to level 3 and kill you.
Yeah.
And I think it's really cool that they have like sort of guaranteed kill cards like Blazing Lunge.
Yeah.
It's not guaranteed, but in certain matches it feels that way because it says it's an attack that if you banish 2 fire cards, the attack damage is unpreventable.
Yeah.
So they'll get their shield out, Enrage, Shrangji, and then the Blazing Lunge with that, you're done. You're done.
Yeah.
Songfrost.
Songfrost.
Oh, yeah.
But then
Never mind, I lose.
But then you have like Relentless Outburst. This is why, by the way, earlier I was saying like 35 is the damage point to look for, because that allows you to do the like Poison Dagger of Relentless Outburst. It does get countered by like, Veiling Breeze or like even a Safeguard Amulet.
Yeah.
But that's a one-off. They pop that one time and you could just, Outburst again. You run 4 of that card in that deck too. So there's many different ways to find kill that's not necessarily attack. Even if you get Solemn Frosted, you can banish Proof of Life from Graveyard to attack again.
Yeah, they have a lot of ways to play
a lot of
around
cool things,
this stuff. I like the 3rd place deck, which is Diana Merlin, Win Diana Merlin. And you think it's kind of like a weird combination going from Diana to Merlin, but I think Caben was actually the one to really popularize this deck because he won one of the Yeti webcam tournaments with it. He got 1st place with it. And the trick here is you're using Diana in combination with the Framework Sidearm, which you could pay 3 to activate it from a materialized deck. So at any point, once you have Diana, you can pay 3, bring it out.
Yeah.
Then later on, when you're Crux,
Yep.
you can play Ghost of Pendragon, tuck the gun, draw 2 cards, Lineage release Diana, bring the gun back out, play another Ghost of Pendragon,
tuck it,
draw 2 cards. Yep. So it's like one of the few ways in the game that you can play 2 Pendragons in a row, not lose any tempo.
Yeah.
So I think that was a pretty cool innovation. And now that we've taken care of the Boogeyman Vanitas, maybe this build of Merlin will become more popular.
Yeah, I'd like to see more Win Merlins. I know there was like a lot of discussions, like is Fire the only viable Merlin? There are definitely cards in A and B, I think, that makes the other Merlins a lot more viable as well. And again, Win being top tier, like, in the card availability and cantripping, Win Merlin's pretty good. Yeah.
Like, honestly, I think it's easy for me to say from my like comfy seat, not actually playing, grinding at these big tournaments, but despite how the meta turned out, despite how inundated it was by these painful Razor Gale call-in decks, I did like seeing these kind of like new brews and combinations come out, like such as the Diana Merlin lineage, and then like you mentioned earlier, the Sylvie Nico lineage is pretty cool. And then I've also been seeing like the Kongming to Merlin lineage, and I'm excited to see a lot more innovations like that.
Yeah. All right, so I heard there were also some new products announced.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Take us in, Fome.
They announced some pretty cool new stuff.
Yeah.
So the first thing was our initial look at the next set, Abyssal Heaven. I think we saw some key art from this, looking very Exia-y, I would say. It's a big set.
Yeah.
213 cards.
Yeah.
For a supplemental set, that's huge.
It's huge. Yes.
And 8 cards per pack, 20 boosters per box. So it's gonna be quite the opening experience. Let's say that.
I think that was a name though, like because previous to this, we only knew that the next set would be called HVN. I don't think any of us really expected Abyssal Heaven.
That's right.
To be the name.
I think between most of us locally, we thought it would be called Mandate of Heaven.
Yeah.
But Abyssal Heaven. That's
pretty cool.
Kind of flipping things upside down.
That's right.
Yeah. They also announced new recollection decks. Whoopee!
Yeah.
Yeah. So we got Guojia and Diaochan.
Diaochan, yep.
And looks like Guojia is going to be a Luxem Tamer, and Diaochan is going to be a Terra Cleric. Pretty cool.
Will be interesting.
Yep. In addition to that, we have yet another product, AMB Draft. And so, you know, we actually have been suspecting this.
Mark's awake now.
Yeah, we when we open these packs, we're like, the ratios of these cards really look like they were meant for drafting.
Yep.
Why is there 15 cards per pack? And now it's been confirmed that it was originally meant to be draftable. In order for this to actually work, they're going to be releasing a new product that's basically a extra draft pack. I think they'll be available at stores.
Yeah.
And then you get one of those draft packs, and they come with the same set of regalia from the home world. And I think the objective of these regalia is they kind of glue the different cards together, so it makes it less like you have to draft all the cards of a particular class or a particular element for your deck to work at all, because that's always been kind of the difficult part of drafting in Grand Archive. So for example, there's a card in the draft pack that enables all elements, not just all basic elements, all elements.
Pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So if you happen to draft, that sweet, advanced element card, super rare, you get to play it in your deck.
Yeah.
Oh baby, Ghost of Pendragon for everyone.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. If that were in A and B,
You're right.
Desperate Cavalier. You're fine. We got the Conduit of Seasons, or our new Ghost of Pendragons. Yeah.
Planar Abyss.
UD. Wait, can I play UD?
Yeah, you can play. You can play UD.
Yes.
Hate that card.
Jade Gossamer Jade.
Yeah.
I am so excited for drafting. I've been waiting like 2 years. Okay. We're like, man, when do we draft this? Because I think honestly, from a perspective of this game taking off, honest opinion, draft is going to take this game to the next level, because it opens up the game to a whole new set of players that are like hey, I'm super casual. I haven't played this game for 5 months. I'll show up Friday to GA drafting. And then I sit down. I don't need to bring anything. In fact, I don't even need to have a land station for those people who play Magic.
Oh, yeah.
I just chill. I just sit down. I open my draft packs. I draft. I enjoy a game. Done. Right? I love it. Plus, I mean, for every, there's possibility of opening up super rare cards in drafting. I mean, just the excitement of this game's drafting I think, has a way higher cap than a lot of other games for drafting, is my opinion on this. Really excited about it.
Definitely looking forward to doing some drafts.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, what do you guys think of the other products? Recollection decks. Yay? Nay? Cool?
Yeah, I mean, I think we can all agree, the Recollection is a great product. It comes with so much stuff. It's awesome. It's a really good launching point for people to get into the game.
Yeah.
But I think we also know that the last set of Recollections that they released had a little bit of an issue, just because the Slime Sylvie deck was built a little bit too strong out of the box. So I am hoping...
They were a little bit meta warping.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm sure they're aware of this. So I'm really hoping that these ones have their power level a bit more balanced. But I'm excited to see what they come with.
They should still be better than starter decks, right?
For sure.
But they shouldn't be this is the meta for HVN.
Yeah.
You choose either Guojia or Diaochan. Have fun, guys.
Yeah. And probably not put any of the cards on category 2 of the ban list.
Oh my
watch
God.
list.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay.
Hopefully those will be powerful, but not meta warping.
All right, Baby Gray Bear. Here we go.
Yeah.
All right. I'm excited too. I think it's HVN, a lot of cards in the world of Sangwo, which I love. I think it opens up a lot of potential for possible cards that could be extending the lore of Mortal Ambition, which brings me to our main topic of the show today, which is all about Mortal Ambition lore.
Woo.
Yeah.
We've been waiting for this.
I know. We've been teasing it for how many episodes? So finally can do it. This is good. I want to kind of kick off this whole section here with a question to both of you. How much do you both know about the Three Kingdoms?
Well, I only know I played Dynasty Warriors 3 with my cousin when I was in middle school. And I would just pick Lupu and just run down everybody. But that's pretty much about the extent of my knowledge.
Nice.
So Three Kingdoms is a video game. I'm just kidding.
Correct.
My understanding of the Three Kingdoms is that it is a time period in Chinese history with a lot of war and stuff. And
Correct.
then they wrote a novelized fictional version of it called Romance of the Three Kingdoms, where they added magic.
And then they created a more romanced version called Dynasty Warriors, right?
Ah, yes,
Yeah.
that's the next level up.
Next level up, yeah. Speaking of magic, really fun topic here. So everyone thinks like, Koming's like super magical and Koming can do a lot of things, right? Did you know there's one other character from the Three Kingdoms that is literally worshipped as a god by a lot of Chinese people even today, and it's not Koming. So magic doesn't matter to Chinese people. What does matter?
Honor.
Your virtues.
Yes. Do you know who I'm talking about from Three Kingdoms? If you ever ride in like a taxi cab in China, you might see this person on the like the front side of the taxi cab, like on the
Buddha.
No, this is from Three Kingdoms. Guan Yu.
Guan Yu.
Because in Chinese culture, what's above like magic is honor, loyalty.
Sorry, no offense, but I'm literally like, who's Guan Yu?
Guan Yu, prime exemplar.
Oh yeah, it has. You can play it at fast speed.
If you lose an ally.
Sorry, it's the unplayable wind ally.
Oh,
Wow, that's a 4 of in the win ally deck.
I'm joking.
You are.
Yeah, I do hear everyone who plays it. They're like,
Is it
every
good?
time I play this, I feel very cope.
Okay.
I joke. I actually have no idea if it's good or bad.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. That's good. This does set a great baseline. So I think, like, do you guys have any questions for me about Three Kingdoms?
Yeah.
No, I think we could just end the episode here. Can you imagine?
Next time.
Next time.
Stay classy.
The real lore video next time.
Okay, I do have a question.
Yes.
Okay, so I am correct, right?
Yeah.
The Three Kingdoms is the time period,
Yep.
and then the Romance of the Three Kingdoms
Yeah.
is the fictional version. Okay, so how much of it is fiction and how much of it is actually real?
Yeah. This is actually a really good topic that you brought up. The fictional story made the actual historical story so much more popular in China. In fact, remember, this happened like almost 2,000 years ago.
Prior to the novel or prior to now?
Prior to now, right? The events of this Three Kingdoms was 196 AD to 223, about that era. Long ass time ago, right? But the story persisted to today. A lot of people know very specific details and stories because of Romance of the Three Kingdoms. The story, the fiction was so compelling that it became part of just Chinese like culture, folklore, and everything. To the point where the fictional story actually warped the actual historical story. So a little bit background history about like almost nobody actually knows the historical facts of Three Kingdoms nowadays. Right.
And then Dynasty Warriors.
And then Dynasty
also
Warriors just like
warped.
messed it all up because Zhang Jiao is something like about like the power of my magic.
The power of magic.
Magic.
Feel the power of my magic!
So I'll just say one thing that's really interesting about the fiction and history. Cao Cao in the fiction is kind of like your bad person.
The
you're
villain,
evil.
right?
Yeah, the villain. Yeah. So like your Sun Quan and Liu Bei are uniting against the villain, right? Of North, whatever. Historically, Cao Cao is actually a pretty good person. It's really interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah, and the reason why this happened is because the story of Three Kingdoms was written in a period of China when the North has been taken over by the barbarians. So they wrote a story of like the South Chinese people rising up and overcoming the North. And if you look back at Three Kingdoms, the South was Sun Quan's Wu and also Liu Bei's Shu, overcoming the North of Wei, Cao Cao. That's why. So that part of history has been wiped. In fact, if you go to a city called Xuchang in China, where Cao Cao's from, the stories there are different from what you popularly hear about Three Kingdoms. Their folklore is about their great hero, Cao Cao, who's a good person, who has done honorable things, very nice. It's really cool.
That's so interesting.
So quite different, actually, between history and romance.
Yeah.
Does that answer your question?
Wait, what percentage of the novel would you say is
Yeah.
true to real life?
0. No, so it's like based on a true story. It's like
Sure.
yeah, a lot of that's why it's called romance, right? A lot of it is like the events are correct, but it really romanticized so that it's better for like an audience. Like imagine back in the old school days when this was acted out as a play or like passed down folklore. You got to tell a compelling story, right? If it's like, oh, this army came with 5 people, this army came with 10 people, 10 people won. Next story. Yeah. Boring, right?
Not very interesting.
Not very interesting, yeah. So they definitely romanticize a lot of the numbers. The heroes became more heroic. The villains became more villainous. Yeah, pretty standard.
So we have the real history.
Yeah.
We have the Romance of the Three Kingdoms fan fiction, I guess.
Yeah.
And then we have the GA version of the Three Kingdoms, 三国.
Yeah.
How true to the source material is the GA lore?
The GA lore is heavily based on Dynasty Warriors. I say that a little bit jokingly, but the reason I say that is because I notice a lot of the weapons of the GA story is based on like the weapons that you saw in Dynasty Warriors, which is fine. It's like, part of this is like we have to build a game that's like accessible to the people today, right? How do you tell a compelling story that people will recognize? If I use like historical weapons of these people, like who is this person? Not recognizable. So I think it's totally fine, but it's quite different. Fun fact, like I was showing, I bought a bunch of like CSRs from this set, right? And opened them, whatever. Yeah, but I was showing because I'm super excited. I'm like, hey, I'm showing these to my wife. I'm like, check out this card, and my wife's like, I can't deal with this like gender bending. It's like messing with my mind because Guan Yu doesn't look like that, Liu Bei doesn't look like that, Zhang Fei, it's all because almost every character has been gender swapped.
The waifuification.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only Diao Chan is still
Diao Chan is not
saved.
Sun Quan and also Xiao Qiao. So those 3 are the correct like gender. I think that so far. Yeah, I can't really think of another person, but everyone else has been swapped. So it's like not recognizable, I guess. Yeah, it's kind of funny.
But would you say like a lot of the like besides gender, would you say like a lot of the characteristics of the characters are true and like, and for people who are not super familiar with Three Kingdoms, who would you say are like the main characters or the characters that you should know?
Yeah, as stated before in the whole like section about like who are the leaders of the 3 kingdoms, right? Okay. So the 3 kingdoms. Okay. Cao Cao, leader of the north, Wei. Okay. And then Sun Quan, leader of the southeast, so that's Wu. And then Liu Bei was leader of the southwest, which is Shu, right? So those 3 definitely you should know. Okay. Because the story of Three Kingdoms, Romance of Three Kingdoms, is very focused on Shu and Liu Bei's story. You should know all the people from like that kingdom. So like the 3 brothers, like the sisters, right? Liu Bei, Guan Yu, Zhang Fei, very, very, very important, right? To know them. In addition to that, also Zhao Yun is one of the like what they call the 5 tiger generals of Shu Kingdom. Zhao Yun is one of them.
Guy?
Yes.
Okay.
The hottie. Oh yeah, Zhao Yun also not gender bent. Yes.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
And nobody plays this guy.
Yeah. By the way, Zhao Yun is like historically known as a very good-looking person too. So like, it's very on he's very handsome, right? Like in this artwork,
he's still quite the looker.
Yeah. So so those people, and then I would say like your standard like Zhuge. Sorry, wow, I forgot that Koming, right? Your like face character of Mortal Ambition.
The one literally on all the boxes.
All the boxes, yeah. Koming, or also known as Zhuge Liang, is very, very well known, right?
Which faction is Koming?
Koming is in Shu. So this is, again, the story is heavily based on Shu Kingdom. So a lot of the main characters are Shu Kingdom people.
Cool.
Yep.
Starting to get it.
Yeah. There are some people who are also included in the card art, but not like revealed as a unique ally potentially yet.
Or champion.
Or champion, yeah. But like Lü Bu, for example. We all know Lü Bu is probably going to be in Abyssal Heaven, like almost guaranteed.
Yes.
He's everywhere, right?
Strongest dynasty.
She's everywhere.
Dynasty warrior.
Strongest dynasty warrior. That's right. Of course, Diao Chan, right? We talked about Diao Chan. Zhang Jiao. So during the the developer? I think it was a developer like update on Mortal Ambition. It was teased that there is like a leader of the Yellow Turbans who's all about like restoring the Han Dynasty by helping people. So what's the card?
The Nascent Blast.
Nascent Blast, Nascent Barrier, Cure the Flesh, I think. Yeah,
I think so.
That artwork is Zhang Jiao. That's or historically, it's kind of interesting because the character is written interestingly. It could be pronounced Zhang Xue. Don't know yet. We don't actually know how it's pronounced back then. We just say Zhang Jiao now, but it could be actually said differently. Sorry, off topic. So Zhang Jiao is known as a spellcaster because he was doing things that were like people thought were like divine, which is why people followed the yellow turbans, because they were helping the people and they had some sort of like almost like the mandate of heaven was with them.
So
overthrowing the Han Dynasty. Yeah.
He's the fanatical cult leader, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
There are also some characters who I think are very critical to the Three Kingdoms story, but I have not seen any artwork representing them yet. So I'm hoping with Abyssal Heaven, 213 cards, we may see some of these characters at least represented in an artwork or kind of like a setting. But on the Wei side, so this is under Cao Cao, their head strategist, basically the person who challenged Kongming, is Sima Yi. So originally I thought this is the person that's in the Ignite Fate, the girl.
Oh,
I thought that
you
was
thought it was like
Sima Yi and
Kongming
Kongming.
versus the Kongming's biggest rival or something.
Correct. That's what I was thinking. Yeah, originally. And on the Wu side, right, their strategist Zhou Yu. He's not just a strategist, but he's also a kind of like a warrior fighter. He's very good at like fighting too. A very smart guy. Definitely bested by Kongming in intelligence, and also has an anger problem, which is why we thought this person must be like Jin. Like anger problem, died young, like literally died of anger, like spitting blood, died of anger. Yeah. And on the Shu side, so I talked about the 5 tiger generals of Shu, right? So the 2 tigers or 3 tigers that we've already seen, Zhang Fei, Zhao Yun, and Guan Yu, right? But there's 2 other tigers. So there's Ma Chao and also Huang Zhong. So those 5, I think, we might see another one, maybe potentially in Abyssal Heaven.
Cool.
Yeah,
We're
these are
looking
key
forward
characters.
to seeing these cards in HVN.
Yeah. Okay.
So sorry. So just like, because I don't know very much about Three Kingdoms. Like I literally don't think I knew anything about Three Kingdoms before Mortal Ambition was announced for Grand Archive. Besides, I knew of Kongming because of the anime Ya Boy Kongming. Have you ever watched that, by the way?
I've heard of it.
You've
Yeah.
heard of it? It's
I
pretty
heard
fun.
of it. Kongming goes to the present or something, right?
Yeah.
And then it's like he's like an agent for some VTuber or something.
Oh my god.
Is he?
I mean,
For a singer,
she's
yeah.
not a VTuber, but yeah, she's like a
Nice.
musical talent.
Okay.
It's
Yeah,
pretty fun.
He's using his like ancient Chinese tactics to help her
boy.
become popular.
Yeah, like
Nice.
the flow of the audience will, be
Okay.
driven to my artist. I don't know. So for the story of the Three Kingdoms,
Yeah.
is it basically just that these 3 factions are constantly warring with each other?
Yeah. Great question. So a short brief of what happened in Three Kingdoms. During the late Han Dynasty, right? Basically, China has this idea of like, okay, the empire anew, super good. Everyone's like, okay, we're in it. This is awesome. And of course, over time, corruption, people are just like incompetent, are still emperor because it's all like, it's nepotism, right? Their sons become emperors. And then it kind of dies, right? The land is like full of corruption. People are starving, disease, famine, etc. Then it causes chaos. So we're in the late Han Dynasty. The empire has not collapsed yet, but it's like on the verge, okay? So all these people are vying for power, controlling the emperor. So first it was Dong Zhuo controlling the emperor, and then Cao Cao started controlling the emperor, right? And then people were fighting over the imperial seal. This is why you saw like the Sun Quan, the seal bearer, and the imperial seal being held by a character, which is probably Yuan Shao, is the character that's holding it. So that's the kind of situation we're in. At first, there were many, many kingdoms, not 3, but essentially within about 10 or so years, those kingdoms became 3, right? Shu, Wei, Wu, and then they were all vying for, like basically hegemony over China.
Is the imperial seal what gives you power?
This is you're asking. You should be a historian. This is good questions.
I just don't know things.
Yeah.
And you do.
Power resides where people think power resides, right? So some people think the imperial seal is a mandate of heaven. It's given by, it's literally the same seal that's passed down from the Qin emperor. So this is Qin dynasty, like hundreds of years ago, he created a seal that says, this is the power of the emperor. We will pass this from emperor to emperor, signifying their power.
Okay.
Right? Whoever has it, it's only one copy. It's like one of one, right? It is the seal, and then it grants them the like whatever hegemony over China, right? But is that really more powerful than whoever is currently the emperor?
Oh, so it doesn't actually always stay with the person that's emperor.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, this is where it got into a whole thing, is because Cao Cao at some point had the emperor under his control, or her control, and then Yuan Shu, it's just somebody else had the imperial seal, and the whole fight was like, who actually has power, the person with the seal or the person with the live emperor?
Interesting.
Yeah.
That is interesting.
It is really interesting, yeah.
What do you have to do to earn the seal, or do you have to just steal it?
It's just, yeah, they literally jacked it. They went to the capital and grabbed it. And they're like, oh, hey, it's here. Let's take it.
Yoink.
Yoink, yeah.
Okay, interesting.
So in the art of Imperial Seal,
Yeah.
is the person on that the emperor?
No, not the emperor. So I should have caught this like when I saw the artwork for Mortal Ambition. But if you take a look at the artwork for Mortal Ambition, right? There is a banner with a last name. So like, you go to fighting armies, right? They have, especially in China at this time, they would have a banner of their name, last name. So usually you can tell which general or which faction or which like what they call like the king, this army's fighting under. That banner says Yuan, which is Yuan Shao's banner.
Oh.
Yeah. So the one on the left of
the person in Mortal Ambition and the person in Imperial Seal are the same?
Same person, and I'm fairly sure it's Yuan Shao. Because the whole idea, and the reason is because there is another location in as a card, Guandu Theater of War is a card, and this card is very important because this is the location, or this is the battle where Cao Cao, with a smaller army, like much smaller army, defeats the larger army of Yuan Shao and completely takes over the north. So the north was kind of like owned by Yuan Shao, basically, with a larger army. Everyone was like, Yuan Shao is probably going to become the next emperor, essentially, right? But Cao Cao defeats Yuan Shao in this pivotal battle at Guandu. So I think Mortal Ambition is when Yuan Shao is marching her army to fight at Guandu, and then
interesting.
And then Guandu is where Cao Cao wins.
And is it like Yuan Shao is about to lose the Imperial Seal? And
yeah, so this is where it's a little bit weird because like technically the Imperial Seal was held by like Sun Quan, which is why he's the seal bearer.
Okay.
Yeah. Or technically his brother Sun Ce. I won't get on the details. There's a bunch of characters, I think, for GA's purpose that were combined together to like, yeah. So Yuan Shao actually has a brother called Yuan Shu. Yuan Shu had the Imperial Seal.
Oh, okay.
So maybe the two characters got combined together into one for GA, and then that's why we have Yuan Shao, who also has a seal. Yeah. And Yuan Shao got the seal from the Sun family. The Sun family were the first to actually discover it when they raided the capital, when they were fighting Dongzhuo. So they basically chased Dongzhuo out of the capital, but they found the Imperial Seal.
Okay, cool. So what other like pivotal events are kind of depicted in some of these cards?
Yeah, there's another card we should talk about. 3 visits.
What card is that?
3 visits.
I don't think I've heard of this
yes,
card.
It's been rata.
Is that a Grand Archive card?
It's a great archive events. great archive cards. 3 visits. I'm actually kind of curious, right? 3 visits, I would say, is probably potentially one of the most important stories of the Romance of the Three Kingdoms. Potentially really? The most, yeah. What do you think is depicted on the artwork? Curious for both of you. I will tell you the answer, of course, eventually.
Okay, well.
Okay.
I'll just say I really like the lore connection in terms of mechanically how the card functions. I don't understand the history, but the fact that you have to rest your champion to get the effect kind of feels like, your combing in the art is inviting guests 3 times. Each time you bow to your guests, you get their blessing, you heal a little bit, you get a little bit of a glimpse. I think that's very flavorful.
Nice.
That's cool.
That's pretty cool.
I don't know who any of these other people are.
Yeah.
What their significance is, but yeah.
These are the sworn sisters, right?
Yes.
Visiting Kongming?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so you got Zhang Fei, Liu Bei, and Guan Yu in the artwork, visiting Kongming, yeah.
Okay.
Do you know why it's called 3 visits?
Isn't it not because they visited Kongming 3 times?
There's 3 pretty girls visiting Kongming.
3 girls visiting Kongming. Yeah. Yes, they visited Kongming 3 times. I think it's kind of crazy. So you mentioned like you think it's really cool that the like flavor of the card is like you visit, you bow, and then you glimpse, and you write that part of it. The glimpsing is so on lore. It's on flavor. It's so good. So the story behind 3 visits is actually Liu Bei at some point realized he's losing all these battles. He has like really good generals, but they can't strategize for shit. So he's like, I need a good strategist to be able to do anything. So Kongming was recommended. Now, Kongming was not interested in meeting just anyone. Kongming is looking for a person who can aspire to greatness in this era of chaos, right?
Dang, gatekeeping.
Gatekeeping, yeah.
Girl boss.
Girl boss, yeah.
Grand Archive.
It's called 3 visits because, like you said, Sean, like the sisters visit Kongming 3 times, but they went to visit Kongming to see if Kongming was home. That's by glimpse.
To see, so Kongming wasn't there.
Kongming, in fact, was literally not there. So the first visit, Kongming was just not there. Where's Kongming? He went out to tour the world to understand the universe. Cool. When is he getting back? Don't know. When he wants to be. This is literally how they were treating like one of the faction's leaders, right? Just like this, very dismissive. But Liu Bei is very persistent. So second visit, he goes in there, and then like basically Kongming's not there again, or it's like oh, Kongming's back, but you didn't tell me which Kongming, because Kongming actually has 2 brothers. So this is the younger brother. So it was the wrong person. So the visit failed again. The third visit, Kongming was actually sleeping. So Liu Bei was like, okay, I'm gonna wait. But my personal opinion on this is this was Kongming's test. Kongming wanted to find the person who's persistent enough to really seek out him, because he knows if he joins just like any other warlord, he probably wouldn't be valued, right? He needed the person who desperately needed him.
Interesting.
So that he would be like very utilized, right? His strategies would be utilized. Imagine if you join a warlord that already has 7 strategists that's been fighting with them for years. Why would I trust a new person, even if this person is super smart, right?
You see, so just as Kongming was looking for the right warlord that was desperately seeking him, the player is desperately glimpsing through their deck to try
Razor
Gale to find their win con.
Correct.
Yeah, that's extremely on flavor.
So poetic.
Yeah, you're looking for the grasp at victory. Yeah. Not to be confused with the Oath of Sakura, which happened like years earlier, and this is just a promise between the 3 sisters. They're like bound by death. The famous saying from this is we do not ask the heavens to be born on the same day, but we do seek that the heavens allow us to die on the same day, which basically says, hey, I will not live if my brother's dead. It's kind of cool.
Wow.
It's a death bond, yeah.
Okay, so do they go visit Kongming?
They do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So the 3 of them visit Kongming together.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, I mean, this is again the romanticized version of this, but Zhang Fei and Guan Yu were not happy about this because they felt like this person Kongming is disrespecting their elder brother.
But Liu Bei is the one like, no. Let's keep trying.
You will show respect.
Yeah.
Yes. One other card, or 2 cards, I guess, I want to share with you guys. Inundating Clash and Tidal Tirade.
I love those cards.
Yeah.
Yo,
They're water cards.
Yeah. They're water warrior cards.
Yes. Oh, sorry, you're right. Yeah.
Okay.
This character is cool.
This character, yeah.
Please tell us about the cool water axe girl.
Axe girl, yes. Warrior Axe girl. So I want to ask you, do you have any? So okay, Warrior Axe girl. It's been shown on 2 cards. My guess is this person is. I have a guess for who this person is, and this person is a named character, unique ally. I'm really hoping they show up in Abyssal Heaven. I would be very sad if they don't. Do you have any guess who this person is? How about this? Obviously, I'm not expecting you guys to know the names, but like, given some of the things you're seeing, do you know what like faction this person's in? What would they do? Like, yes.
Was this person in Dynasty Warriors?
3? Yes.
You're up, Fome.
Did this person work for Cao Cao?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Water makes sense.
Yeah. 2 acts. Actually, I think everybody who played any recent Dynasty Warriors would probably think like, which person has 2 axes? And then probably get the thing right. Yeah. This person is Zhang Liao. Also, potentially one of my favorite characters from Three Kingdoms as well. Yeah. Very good friend of Guan Yu, actually. They have like a relationship, even though they serve different warlords.
Yeah,
I think they were friends
enemies?
before. It's much more complicated than that. It's like you know how like lawyers are enemies in the court, but they like have beers afterwards.
Oh,
It's
interesting.
kind of like that, right? Really, really good friends with Guan Yu. Actually, they have a very strong relationship.
They seem to be very good friends.
Yeah. Also, Zhang Liao is a very honorable person. So that's why you know, another one of those people you're like, you know, high on the Chinese respect here.
Well, thanks, Professor Mark, for enlightening us.
Yeah.
We have a viewer submitted question about the Sangua lore.
Yep.
So this one comes from MDuo13 or our friend Rome.
Okay.
They're also the creator of the Fractal of Insight website. MDuo13 asks, what is Guojia's role in the traditional Three Kingdoms lore, and how does it fit with the direction they've been taking her immortal ambition so far?
Okay. Guojia is really interesting. Guojia is, I would say, like kind of a minor character probably in Three Kingdoms, to be fair. Cao Cao has a bunch of strategists. Guojia is one of them.
Okay.
And I would argue probably not even the best one. Did die pretty young. But one really pivotal thing that Guojia did was super epic.
Oh, die young, you said.
Yes.
Okay, so that's why they're like very young looking in the artwork.
Yeah. One pivotal thing that Guojia did for Cao Cao was during the war with Yuan Shao. Guojia convinced Cao Cao to go to war with Yuan Shao, despite having a smaller army. And so they went to war and he won.
This is the Guandu Theater of War?
Guandu, yes.
That you were talking
Before
about earlier?
Guandu, because Guandu wouldn't have happened had Guojia not convinced Cao Cao to go to war. Because everyone's telling Cao Cao, don't go to war. He's much stronger than you. Yeah. So direction-wise for Guojia in Grand Archive, honestly, I don't know. I don't know why Guojia is a tamer. But you know, like happy to kind of just find out and roll with it and see what happens. But yeah, like Guojia is a strategist. That's about it.
Nothing special about animals or light or revealing things.
Yeah, the only thing. Revealing. Yeah, so Guojia is known as somebody who kind of can predict the future, like the whole Yuan Shao thing, right? So he revealed to Cao Cao. He. It's not like predicting the future, but he sees things that other people miss, right? Probably details, events. So he was known for predicting future events. So maybe that's why I liked him.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like revealing, you know, the future kind of thing. Yeah, it's nice.
Okay.
It's cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so I do have a question. So Guojia is one of the revealed recollection decks coming up.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you about Diao Chan, which is the other champion that's going to be in the recollection.
The hottie. Yep.
Yeah. So based on the YouTube videos I've watched about the Three Kingdoms, what I understand about Diao Chan's character is that she's, like you said, the hottie, the beauty, and I think her father uses her basically, right?
You know a lot.
No.
You know a lot.
I had
going deep.
No, I had to study a little bit because I had to make videos about this.
Sure.
But I actually don't understand it that much. Okay, so basically he sends her off to Dongzhuo, right?
Yeah.
Basically to make Lu Bu jealous.
Yes.
Right? And then Lu Bu goes and attacks Dongzhuo to win the girl.
Kills
him.
Yeah.
So my question is, does she have any other significance in the story? Does she have like much of a character besides just being kind of like a tool for the men to fight over?
Yeah. I can't comment on the historical part because I don't actually know what happened with Diao Chan in the historical part. But on the romanticized part, Diao Chan actually really likes Lu Bu. That's a true love story. That's not just like being used, right? What actually happened was something like this. Lu Bu liked Diao Chan. A little bit like baited by Diao Chan's adoptive father, Wang Yun, right? Because he basically invited Lu Bu over for like dinner and then had Diao Chan do like a little dance.
Check out my daughter.
Yeah. You know, and then basically Lu Bu said, hey, you know, I would like to take her as my bride. Right? So it's like kind of like arranged marriage. Diao Chan is very happy about this. But Wang Yun had a ulterior motive. The whole point was then he invited Dong Zhuo over for dinner too. Did the whole thing again. Now, Dong Zhuo, if you notice the artwork of Dong Zhuo, there's another hottie behind Dong Zhuo, right? He is really known for being like, he likes pretty women.
Womanizer.
Yeah. So basically what happened is that, one thing led to another. Dong Zhuo kind of stole Diao Chan from Lu Bu. The way kind of like Dong Zhuo kind of did this was Dong Zhuo was like, look, if I were to lose Lu Bu's trust because Diao Chan, like that's not good. But so Diao Chan realizing that Dong Zhuo was about to just like kind of like let this whole scheme go, Diao Chan actually like played Dong Zhuo too. Pretended like, oh, I don't really like Lu Bu, I like you. So there's a little bit of this going on, right? So Diao Chan is very pivotal because had Diao Chan not done this, very likely Dong Zhuo would have ruled all of China.
Interesting.
It's kind of crazy because Diao Chan started this whole thing where Lu Bu kills Dong Zhuo, sends the emperor in chaos. Cao Cao then grabs the emperor, and now the three kingdoms kind of establish.
So is Diao Chan kind of like pulling all the strings then?
A little bit, yeah. So in the beginning, Diao Chan was very unwilling participant to this scheme, but at some point, I think again loyalty to the stepfather, which she does love dearly, she felt like this is the right thing to do for China. Yeah.
Wow.
Her pure beauty is entrancing. There are 4 great beauties of China who like affected the flow of like history, right? Diao Chan is one of them. The 4 great beauties of China. Diao Chan is one of them. That's how, I guess, pretty she is and how entrancing her looks are.
So kind of like branching off of what you said. So that's what started the events of the Three Kingdoms? Or
no, the start of the events of the Three Kingdoms is more like probably around like the emperor being like just not doing what he's supposed to do. Very corrupted Han Dynasty is the start. But Lu Bu killing Dong Zhuo is depicted in the artwork of Heat of Vengeance.
Oh, I love that artwork. It's pretty cool.
Where Lu Bu is holding Diao Chan and then Dong Zhuo's kind of like sitting and dead. Yeah, that's the scene where basically Diao Chan did her scheme, and then Lu Bu killed Dong Zhuo to save Diao Chan from the tyrant. Yeah,
Cool.
Yuri.
So with that, I think that brings us to the end of today's foray into like just really the surface of Three Kingdom lore. Even in Grand Archive, there's so much of the story that's depicted in all the artwork already in this set that we have not talked about.
Yeah.
So yeah, if there's other things that even you guys, the viewer, are kind of interested in, please let us know. Maybe we can like cover it in a future episode or something like that. Or what I was thinking is, we have Abyssal Heaven, so we have plenty of time to go revisit this great like Sanguo like universe. Yeah, for the future.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Mark Lauscher.
Oh, 不用谢, 不用谢. It's my pleasure. It's very fun. We do have also a viewer question this week, but before I get to that, if you have a question for TalkGA, it could be about the lore, it could be about anything. You can tweet at us on Twitter at TalkGA_podcast, or on YouTube right below this video or any of our TalkGA videos. Use hashtag TalkGA and then follow by your question, or you can email us as well. TalkGA podcast, one word, at gmail.com. Okay, so we have a question from a viewer, United8959. The question is, do you know if there will be an altar version of Mercurial Heart? Wish I could open some boxes, but the price of it is insane. Yeah.
Thank you for the question.
Thank you for the question. You guys anyone want to take a shot at this?
I mean, as far as we know, they haven't announced anything for Mercurial Heart. I mean, we're right with you there. It's hard to get this product, and I hope they announce something.
Yeah, this seems like a pretty common comment about whether Mercurial Heart should be reprinted first instead of Alchemical Revolution as an Altar Edition. It's really interesting because it kind of harkens back to a statement I think we had a discussion with Sildar many moons ago about Alchemical Revolution, that the altar version doesn't have to necessarily be just a like reprint of the same set. It could be like a remaster or like a combination of the things that we liked and didn't like of that, let's say, set, or maybe even set and supplemental set. So I wonder if one way we can kind of deal with this, maybe it's again too late because Alchemical Revolution Altar is already announced, But in the future, it could be like maybe the reprint of ALC is more like Alchemical Heart, where you combine the two together, you put some, needed reprints of both sets, the supplemental and the base set of that kingdom into one. So
make it draftable.
Make it draftable. You can do other things, like the things, you can fix some of the things that you didn't like about the set, how they were like grouped, especially for drafting, right? I think it's less necessary if it's just like open the card packs for the cards, but for drafting in the future, like, Mortal Ambition plus Abyssal, like Heaven, could be a remaster set of Sanguo, and that'd be kind of interesting too. And it also helps with the whole reprint thing if we ever get to that situation with these two sets.
Yeah, that would be nice.
That would be nice. But again, nothing official announced, so we don't know when MRC Alter is going to be. Given that MRC was announced as a first edition, there should be an Alter at some point in the future. Don't know when. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. With that, we are at the end of our podcast. So again, thank you guys, audience, so much for watching our episode of TalkGA. We really appreciate it. And otherwise, see you next time.
Stay classy.
Yeah. Cool. Bye-bye.
Behind the scenes after the filming of TalkGA, we're watching the Three Kingdoms anime Chinese cartoon.
能够建立一支仁义之师，另辟救国。